Let's talk about scope variables in Python. So scope variables are of two types. We have a local variable and we have a global variable. So understanding scope variable is very essential now. So variables that are defined inside a block, inside a function is called a local scope variable. And this refers to variable that inside the block and they can only be accessed within that block. But variables that are defined outside all the blocks, usually before all the blocks, they are called global variable and they can be accessed anywhere in the program. So let's say we have def now, my function right here. So I have def my function, and this is just a function right here. You can see my function keyword as the header, my function name, and no parameter for now. So I can have a variable called local var right here. So just for you to know that this is a local variable, I'm setting this to 10, and now I'm in this function, I'm printing out local var, right? So I'm printing out local var. So this is my printing out local var. So whenever I call this function now, I'm getting 10 because I'm printing out local var, right? So just see that with mine. Okay. Okay, 10, that's okay. So I should go ahead and run this now. You're getting out 10, right? But what happens if I should try to print out local var itself out? So this is me trying to print out local var itself out, and I'm saying getting a local var is not defined. But this is local var right here. But why is this saying it's not defined? So there's no typo, it's actually exactly how it is. This is because this is a local variable and it cannot be accessed outside this block. It can be accessed within this block. And that's why I'm able to print it out inside this block, but I can't print it out outside the block. But let's say we have a global variable. So here I can say global var equals to 20, right? So I'm saying global var is equals to 20 now. I can print out global var right here. That's getting 10, right? But guess what? I can also print out global var inside this function. Now I'm getting 2020. That's because I'm able to access a global variable because it's defined outside all the blocks. I'm able to access global variable outside anywhere in the Python program, but local variable can only be accessed within the block where it is defined. You cannot try and access this local variable in another function. So I can just say another function right here. And me trying to access local variable is not possible. You can see it's not even like suggested to me by Python. So me trying to access local var right here is not accessible. So I just go ahead and try to run this again. Okay, I'm not calling the function, but let me call this function now. Another function. So try to run this right here. You can see local var is not defined. Do you mean global var? Let me refactor this. So it should be global var. Okay. But global var is accessible in this function itself. So if I should go ahead and run this again, I'm able to access global var, which is 20, right? So that's how scope work in function. So scope variables and scope rules, that's how they work in function. Take note that you can have local variable and outside variable. And what's the difference between these things? So in local scope, variables are defined inside a block, but in global scope, variables are defined before all the blocks, that is before all the functions, right? Then local variables now can only be used in blocks, which mean in which they are defined, while variables that can be used in entire program are called global variable. So local variables are created when the control enter the block, and they are destroyed when the control exit the block. So by the time I'm coming out of this block, this local variable is automatically deleted, it's automatically destroyed, and to Python it does not exist. But when it enters this block, it is defined. Python knows that it exists. But global variables now are created when the program starts executing, and they are destroyed when the program is terminated. You can see the difference between the local variable and the global variable. And the last difference is that Local variables are used to hold local data, which is private to the block or the function itself. But global variables now are used to hold global data, which can be shared to all the functions in the program. So, well, let's take note of this that take note of the difference between local variable and global variable. Know when to use a local variable and global variable. If you want a variable itself to be specific to a function and not to be accessible outside, you don't need this variable outside this function. That you should define a local variable instead. But if you want this variable to be accessible in all your programs, in all the functions, you should use a global variable instead.